talk about how you can use intuition as a healing for yourself.
Um, so I literally, it's so funny because I think we get guidance all the time, but I don't always listen to it. It's like when I think of healing, okay? So, I think of, uh, I'm just kind of teasing a little bit here, but when we talk about healing, it is listening to the different ways that the soul is guiding you to bring healing. And sometimes it's balance. Sometimes it might be exercise, walking,
Mhm.
nature. It might be, again, meditating, paying attention to what you're eating. Don't eat that, do
Mm.
this. Okay. And then sometimes it's tougher stuff like forgiveness. And I say that because it's like sometimes I get this guidance and I keep getting the message, you really need to let go of this or you need to forgive this situation or whatever it may be. And recognizing, I mean, this is where, the intuition can be so powerful in helping us to make healthy choices and recognizing that I might really love someone but I might need to step back because my soul is saying that you need to have a boundary or that when I spend time with maybe that's not healthy for me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Welcome to the Angelscapes Podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Are you looking for a map or a chart to guide you on your path? I know I am. I'm always looking for a map. I don't know, a book, something. Do you want to know what is in the cards for you? Hello and welcome to Angelscapes, and I am your host, Nancy Smith. I'm your guide for living a soul powered life. And I'd like to invite you to join my Facebook group, Soul Powered Living, where we can continue discussions started in this podcast. Joining me today, I'm really excited about this, is my next guest, Lori Sheridan, for a discussion with her about her new book and her new deck of cards called Soul Compass, Trusting Your Intuition and Wisdom Within. It's an oracle card deck along with the book. So it's your chart, guys. It's your chart. So
Yay.
you can find Lori Sheridan at lauriesheridanmedium.com. I'll repeat that again later. She's an international psychic medium and spiritual teacher with nearly 20 years of experiencing helping others find peace, healing, and meaningful connection. She's known for her clear, heartfelt messages from spirit through mediumship, and she offers comfort and reassurance to those seeking validation that love continues beyond physical life. If you ever get a chance to see her work, I highly recommend it. She's got private sessions going, she's got public demonstrations, workshops, and classes, and she inspires others to trust their intuition and embrace the wisdom within. And I'm like so excited. And I just don't want to talk about how many years you've been in business because we were students together. But
I was gonna say, I'm like, boy, we've been around the block, haven't we, Nancy?
I mean, so what got you I don't wanna go I wanna go all the way back to what got you into the business of mediumship, but
Right.
I'd like to start with the book.
Okay.
What inspired you, to work on this book? It's beautifully done, by the way. It's
Thank you.
the the flow of it makes so much sense. The design it's clear to read, and there's exercises in here. It's like a little workbook, and
Yeah.
then you have the cards. So talk to me about where that started from.
Awesome. Well, first, thank you so much for having me, Nancy. It really means a lot, and I respect you, and you're doing so much fabulous work yourself. So it really is a treat to get to chat with you today. So thank you for having me.
Uh,
But the book really, I had the idea of writing a book actually probably several years in advance. And I was like, what is the story? What do I need to write about? I was trying to find the story. And
mhm.
you know how it works with synchronicity and spirit. And sometimes we have these aha moments where things just seem to kind of fall into place, right? So it was literally several clients that I was seeing for one-to-one readings. They were coming and they were saying, Lori, how do I connect with my intuition? And how do I know what I'm getting? How do I trust it? And so it was literally like a series of clients that showed up and were asking, and we were doing one-to-ones, and it hit my bulb, it was like, "Okay, so this is the book, this is the story," and it really that's where it stemmed from, was trying to give people a tool, to be able
Mhm.
to access their intuition, but the wisdom that we all hold within, and I really wanted to do it in a way that, again, people recognize that we all have this ability. I
That's
think when we think of a psychic medium, we're not necessarily all going to be talking to dead people or making those types of connections. But, because we have that soul, that eternal soul, that is the compass that we were all born with. And we all can tap into that wisdom, into that guidance. And that is truly the goal of this book, is to empower people to embrace it and to find ways and opportunities to recognize how their soul is talking to them in their day-to-day life. So,
so wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
thanks.
Trusting your intuition and the wisdom within. I feel like trust is probably the biggest key.
Yes, absolutely, right? Yeah.
So it gets in our way when we don't trust. But talk to me about how you help people trust themselves.
I think that truly is something we're all working on, especially in this work, continuing to trust what we get. I remember Rita, one of our shared teachers, Rita Berkowitz,
Yeah.
that was like the name of the game, right? We have to trust. And as far as working to trust yourself, I mean, that's the process when working with the intuition. I think just by beginning to flex the muscle, just by beginning to listen, to pay attention to the different signs, sometimes whether it's journaling, but we start to see these threads, we start to see these synchronicities, we start to see how things are falling into place, and we
Right.
start to have an awareness of the nudges and the guidance, because some of it is learning how are we receiving the information, what are our strengths, so we do talk about the different ways that we can receive guidance in this book, and you kind of start to find this is what speaks to me, or
Mhm.
I get guidance through dreams, or I see billboards that talk to me, or I see whatever it may be.
Whatever
And
it
then
is. Yeah.
sometimes it's, you have the feeling of it's a yes, it feels positive, or something that says, no, this doesn't feel right. And so as far as the trusting it goes, I think some of it is number one, starting to have an awareness, starting to try to tune in. And then over time, we begin to see, wow, my gut instinct was right on the money. And I think if we could even
Yeah.
reflect back, right? How many times have you had those hits where like, this is great, or ooh, this doesn't feel quite right. And then you
Or
look
I
back
wish
and
I
you're
would
like,
have listened to myself.
exactly, exactly.
Like, here I am, and I didn't listen to myself.
Exactly. But that's it. That's the intuition. So I think it's a kind of like a muscle, but it builds over time. And the more that we work with it, the more that we start to pay attention to it, I just feel like we get more comfortable and confident using it and
Mhm.
recognizing it in our life.
Yeah. I wanna stick with trust a little bit, but I
Yep.
also wanna add, when I see my students or when I saw us as students and all the students
Yep.
around us, they would start with, "I don't know, this is kinda weird," or "I don't really know, I don't think," and so there was a lot of talk.
Right.
Even if I'm just talking to my clients, there's a lot of talk about, "I don't think so. I don't, believe this," and, one of the things that we've learned, um, t I think it's we've learned it, but,
Yeah.
feel it, believe it, trust it, and do it anyway, and don't put anything in front of these signs or sensations or, don't you think it's an overcoming that
100%. I mean, and I think it's also important to know that questioning things is human, right? That is part of the experience as well. But I often look for a repetition, because I'm like an OCD person, like, okay, if this is really for my highest and best, or if this is really meant for me, I might pray on it, I might meditate on it, but I'm going to be looking for that
Mhm,
feeling or that validation. I mean, and I think we look so
mhm.
often even outside of ourselves, right? Externally for these
Yes,
validations.
we do. We do.
And, if we just go into that stillness or that quiet, so often, again, those answers that we seek, they are right there within us.
Mhm,
And the body as a pendulum, the body as a tool to, just paying attention. How do I feel in this moment? And
mhm.
what is my soul telling me? That these
Yeah.
little things have power,
Oh,
much
they
more than we even
yeah.
recognize, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you, asking questions is very good. Curiosity is very healthy. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, curiosity feeds your intuition. It's just because
Exactly.
once you know something, once you've found something out, you own it and your intuition can speak to you. But if the language starts out as, I don't think so, this is weird. We we trip over it and but that's understandable that you doubt. So
Right.
how can you work with your doubt and still learn to trust yourself has been one of the biggest teaching tools.
That's it. And I mean, even like
Yeah.
the power of the mind, as you notice, like, even having an open mind to these concepts allows it to
Yeah.
flow, so to speak,
Right.
and question and sometimes catching thoughts, as you're acknowledging, we are bringing negativity or we're limiting ourselves.
Limiting. Yeah.
Yeah, with limiting beliefs or thoughts, that is going to make things sometimes a little more challenging. So maybe even if you shifted a hair to, I'm open to receiving, I'm
Mhm.
open to these experiences, I'm open to trying this and seeing how it works. But just shifting it just a touch opens the door, in my opinion.
No, I love hearing that. I love hearing that. You mentioned something about your body as a pendulum or using your body's wisdom, and that's chapter 3.
Yeah.
So
Yes, exactly, right?
your body's wisdom is so connected to your soul and your intuition. I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Well, I always there's a big story back in the day. One of my big ones is when I was getting ready to take the leap. So for many years, I actually worked in marketing communications and, I was doing, the psychic and the mediumship on the side.
I
And
remember that.
when I was getting close to taking that leap, that leap of faith to making this my full-time work, I was nervous, I had anxiety, like, oh, is this the right step? And I remember really sitting with it and praying on it, meditating. I would do it first thing in the morning when I woke up and at night. And really what I was looking towards is also listening to any guidance that I was receiving, but also how did I feel in those moments? And I talked about that repetition piece. Now, initially, I have to be honest, Nancy, I felt like throwing up. I felt like barfing, which technically usually would be a no, not the right time not the right
This is a
time.
good point. We were gonna go further on this point, but I totally get you. Yeah,
Usually this is
yeah.
a no, okay? But, I had continued to sit with it, and this wasn't like these are it's so interesting because we want the answers so quickly, but everything really is in divine timing.
Mhm.
So this wasn't like a day or a week, this was probably like over a month, it could have been a couple of months of kind of praying, sitting with things, and then we had some synchronistic events happen where things shifted a little bit with, health insurance and finances, and the door kind of opened, so to speak.
Oh, I
And
love it.
I know that, and then as I still sat with it, even you begin to recognize, is this a no or is this my fear? Is this my fear? And underneath it was a yes, recognizing that that was a little bit of fear, but also beginning to hear, this is it. This is the moment. This is take the leap. And, I remember taking it. I don't usually tell this, but I think I gave my notice and I think I threw my back out the next day. But it was, again, it's fear around because the back is security and foundation,
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
and, but I haven't looked back since, so to speak. Things have fell into place, but that is a beautiful example of the body speaking and listening, but also recognizing. For me, I have found, and I would ask the same of you, like the answers sometimes they come to the surface, they rise, and we all of a sudden know it's a yes, it's a no, it's a pause, or
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
wait.
yeah.
And it's not always quick though. Sometimes it is
No,
just sit
process. It's a
tight.
journey. It's a journey.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
that's still information. That's still guidance. And that's, to me, that's the body speaking, or like literally, when you go into a room, or I remember I told another story. My husband and I were looking at a house when we were moving a couple of years ago. And the first house we went into, it was beautiful. And then we looked at each other and we were like, there is something wrong. Like we were like, we won't be married if we move into this house. Like energetically, it just really didn't feel
Feels
right
right.
to both of us. But that was, again, paying attention to the feeling, paying attention to what we knew.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was so interesting. He felt the same way. I was like, wow, pretty good. So sometimes
Thank
you just know
goodness.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. You think if two questions come to mind. The first one is, um, a lot of times when we're getting guidance from our soul, from
Mhm.
our spirit, it's coming. It's we're kind of being guided out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
Even though we're walking into the exact perfect thing, you wanna throw up, or you throw out your back, or you think of
Exactly.
everything and a reason why not, and, it does so that gut feeling of intuition, "This feels right," versus you're being led to go on a pathway that's better for you, and it doesn't feel right. But
Yes.
those are so hard to work with. I mean, they're tricky to work with, I should say. They're not that
Yeah.
hard, but it's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky, but it is so amazing too. Like when we see, even when we find ourselves in those challenging situations, right? That there's often the hand or the door, like it's not always the straight path
Mhm.
that we imagined, but we just keep taking the steps and
Mhm.
following the breadcrumbs, those little nudges. I
Yeah.
just feel like that's the soul, but it's also, to be spiritual, maybe the hand of God or grace, the
Yeah,
spirit helping
yeah.
to support
Mhm.
us as well.
Right.
It's
Yeah, all of that.
amazing.
So, having talked about this, how do you suppose you shift from all the outer signs? You were talking about all the synchronicities, all the outer signs, and yet you're supposed to the best, more empowered way is to know what your inner guidance is saying. So I feel like there's a relationship and sometimes a transition from looking at everything from the outside to the inside. And it,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I still probably do a little bit of both, but meditation for me is like huge. And some people, so meditation and even prayer, but taking it's, I think of it as a dialogue too. I am a reverend as well, but that we have that connection with Source,
Mhm.
Infinite God, but also the soul. And there is an aspect of going into that stillness, going into the quiet, where meditation, where the soul speaks, where, we can check in with ourselves daily. And developing a meditation practice is probably one of the greatest gifts
Mhm.
that I could encourage anyone to explore, especially when we talk about not just looking external, but
Mhm.
going into that quiet. And some people are like, I hate meditation, so spend time in nature because when you were doing things that we love or, we're, I would say outside, I find so often we get those ahas. It's almost like you're not
Mhm.
forcing it,
Right.
but
Right.
it speaks all of a sudden. You get
Yeah.
an aha or an a knowing. I always
Yeah.
make the joke on the rare day that years ago was I was like watering my plants. I'm not a big gardener, okay? And I was like gardening, but it was like I got an answer to a question without even trying.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's it. I didn't have to
Yeah.
force it, but all of a sudden I heard it. I knew it. And that's it. And it came from within.
Mhm.
And so when that starts to happen, I just feel like that's the compass. That's the most powerful piece,
Yes. Yes.
because it's like, wow. And I just, it's not unique to me or you. That's the whole. I really want people to know that we all can do this.
Right.
So listening, that would be the biggest thing I would say.
Yeah, it
What do you
sounds like
think?
I think that what I'm hearing you say and what I feel this is really important is sitting in that meditation, sitting in that power. You're not necessarily walking away with an answer, but the power is opening the door to yourself, to your
Mhm.
senses,
Yep,
and to it's the reciprocity starts. And
absolutely.
and sometimes it just the information or the hitting home doesn't show up until you're relaxed and watering your flowers or
Yep.
mine is ironing my shirts and
It's those mundane things. We're driving or taking a
yeah,
shower
yeah.
or all of a
But it's
sudden.
it's about, paying attention. It's really about
That's
paying
huge,
attention.
paying attention.
And, I have
So
a funny story, funny question. It's like I'll be asking for guidance, and asking for guidance and asking for guidance, and I go on to do, something else, whatever it could be, and, my mind is all wrapped around that, and the answer shows up, and then I look at it and go, "What was the question?" Got all this information, but I have to go back and remember what I was asking for. But,
that
paying attention and
that's
being aware of yourself is
That's it. That's it. Because that's the other piece too is, Nancy, I think that we probably get so much guidance and messages in so many different forms
oh,
and
yeah.
ways, probably every day, right? But we're not always
Mhm.
maybe open to it or even observing it. We're not so I wonder how much do we miss, sometimes because we have the tunnel vision or we're in a rush or, we're just
Yeah.
and because I really do believe that the universe is speaking to us all the
Oh,
time.
absolutely. I believe that too. I do sometimes in part of my prayer say, "Could you tell it to me, but tell it to me lots of different ways
I
because I'm gonna
love
miss
that.
the
That's a
this
great
5%."
idea. That's it. And then, yeah, I usually ask for repetition too. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I was saying
repetition.
with I'll take that 3 times if that's real, I'm joking, but yeah, looking for the validation and
Absolutely. I want to just take a really little short break to talk about where people can find you, Lori. It's Lori Sheridan Medium.com,
yeah,
correct?
yep,
And yeah, and then on Facebook, Lori Sheridan, Lori Sheridan Medium.com.
yep,
Great, lovely, generous heart, warm heart. You're feeling like you want to reach out to her, reach out to her. And you can order her books on her book of the cards. You're going to have more books, is
yeah,
what I'm getting, is you can order it. I ordered your books off of your website,
yeah,
which took me to, the press. I gotta talk about Inner Peace Press. Oh my gosh.
yes,
So
absolutely.
go there. They're really worth going and checking out what else is. So I went to Inner Peace Press and I ordered the whole set, the book
Yeah.
and the cards, and they sent me this little compass.
I
The com
know the publisher did such a nice
and
package.
then she wrapped it in with I forget the color of the tissue paper. I think it was pink or
It's
purple.
purple, of
Purple.
course.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, it's like so lovely. And and I think I took a picture of it and sent it to you.
You
But
did. That
yeah,
was really sweet of you, Nancy,
but
but yeah, thank you.
I it's just really a gift to give to yourself. So just you could find her Lori Sheridan Medium. It's just one medium, one S, no S's.
Yeah, just
Lori
LoriSheridanMedium.com.
com.
Yeah.
And highly recommend it. It'd be a lovely gift to yourself. Um, so getting back to talking about this, we get a little bit of talk about your books, but I want to talk about nurturing your intuitive self. I feel that this self care is really important. And I say to my students all the time, you need to love yourself in order to allow the love of God to come in. That loving yourself gives it room to snuggle in there. But also, when we're in a emotional, like
Yeah,
1-2 punch,
yeah,
it's really hard to trust your intuition. When you're in grief, you
yeah.
can't even hear your intuition. So let's talk a little bit about nurturing that intuitive self when it's hard.
I love that. So the big things that continue to speak to me, I know we've already touched on some of it, but it is meditation and prayer.
Mhm,
And then trying to do things with people that bring me comfort, yeah, but
mhm.
also doing things that speak to my soul. So when it's hard, when you're struggling, and I know those are the time there's like that saying, when you have so much going on and but I have no time to meditate, but that's when you have the most time because you need to, right? And so it is making time for yourself with gentleness, whether that's listening to music, finding something creative with creative expression. I have a colleague that introduced me to paint by number kits, and yeah, Nancy's an artist over here, so she's probably horrified. But,
Oh, I love them. Yeah,
but
no, that's perfect. Yeah.
but it made it so that, it was creative expression, but it allowed me to relax. And then it's almost, again, when we're doing sometimes those creative things or those things that
Yeah.
speak to us or are gentle, nurturing, that's when the soul speaks. That's when the wisdom rises. And then also I will say too, um, I would say get a good night's sleep, okay? Because, I find that when I'm, like, overwhelmed or if I'm really struggling, sometimes those are not the right times to be making significant decisions because 'cause we're not always seeing things clearly,
Really.
and so I do find that I like to practice the pause if I can, to sleep on it, to give myself a couple of days,
Mhm.
sometimes to step back, to gain perspective,
Mhm.
to ask to open my mind, to see this from a
Mhm.
different
Mhm.
perspective, different angle. And again, we often think that we need to respond immediately, but sometimes just with it or letting it
Mhm.
mulch
Mhm.
and bring that inspiration, can bring that guidance. And I can't say it enough, just be gentle with yourself. For me, music. I'm not a huge tea drinker, but I would say tea, but like I'll say coffee. But but you know, and then but do something that makes you happy. And then and even going for a walk by the water. I love the beach, like those things can be so rejuvenating, and we can not only reconnect with ourselves, but we can find ourselves sometimes in these places.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Really feel that way. Um, I have so many questions, and I want to be careful to have them go into a nice order. When you're, I just talked about the one-two punch, and it's really difficult to make that intuitive connection to make a decision. However, your
Yeah,
intuition can be used as a healing aspect, so you could heal yourself
absolutely.
to to get to the point where you're calm and you can do what you can hear what you need to hear. So talk about how you can use intuition as a healing for yourself.
Um, so I literally, it's so funny because I think we get guidance all the time, but I don't always listen to it. It's like when I think of healing, okay? So, I think of, oh, I'm just kind of teasing a little bit here, but when we talk about healing, it is listening to the different ways that the soul is guiding you to bring healing. And sometimes it's balance. Sometimes it might be exercise, walking,
Mhm,
nature. It might be, again, meditating, paying attention to what you're eating. Don't eat that, do
mhm.
this. Okay. And then sometimes it's tougher stuff like forgiveness. And I say that because it's like sometimes I get this guidance and I keep getting the message, you really need to let go of this or you need to forgive this situation or whatever it may be. And recognizing, I mean, this is where, the intuition can be so powerful in helping us to make healthy choices and recognizing that I might really love someone but I might need to step back because my soul is saying that you need to have a boundary or that when I spend time with maybe that's not healthy for me. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's
Mm.
so many different ways, and I'm just giving a couple of quick examples where we can be guided on that soul level for the healing. And I really think nature is so restorative too. Like going for the walks, I always feel better, when I'm
Yeah. Mhm.
outside and when I take time, in that way as well. But, and again, the healing, the balance, I mean, the intuition, it's just profound, but it's trusting what you're getting and then
Right.
acting
Right.
on it.
Right.
Because, and I'm making the joke, yeah, I want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, great. But if I hear, okay, you need to cut this out, but then I'm like, oh, but I really like chocolate, so it's fine, but it's just acknowledging that sometimes we get guidance too, but we don't always listen to it. And so,
Yeah.
that we play a part in our healing process, that
Really. Yeah.
it's also with the guidance, but then following it, acting on it, taking the steps,
Right.
um, and
Right.
I will just say one more thing, it really is profound to me how much healing is available to us because we can also sit in meditation with the intention for healing. And we can also, through prayer, ask for healing. I have a
Mhm.
friend who told me a story years ago how he was struggling with addiction and he asked for help. And like miracles happened, where he was
Wow.
able to give up, what he had been struggling with, and he got the support he needed, and he's in a totally different space now in his life. How incredible is that, right?
That is a miracle.
And
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
soul was saying to him, you need to stop. This is not, you're not going to be here if you keep doing this. And he listened and he prayed and he
Wow.
got the
Yeah.
guidance and the healing that he needed to move him forward in a
Mhm.
healthier way. I mean, so that's it. It's just trying to bring it to
Beautiful.
life a little bit, you know?
Beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah. So this this next question, and I love this story that you told me. It's touching my heart because oftentimes when we have these inner struggles, we start to judge ourselves and we start to see ourselves as separate from spirit. I don't deserve that, or God's not going to listen to me because I'm like a
Yeah,
loser. And that's not the truth. That's a lie that you're telling yourself.
that's right.
That the help is right there, the energy, the
Yeah.
love.
I think we
Yeah.
have no idea how loved we are. I think
Right.
occasionally we tap into it, maybe even I wonder if we only touch into it with a sliver. Like
Yeah.
sometimes when you meditate or you pray, sometimes you're overwhelmed by this
The
incredible
love.
feeling of
Yeah.
unconditional love. And it's not every time that we sit or, but just to even have and it really is a powerful reminder that I think we are so much more loved, so much more supported
Mhm.
than we recognize, and that we are all human. So, one of my mentors said, we all make mistakes. We all learn from these experiences, but we are always loved. And finding that grace and the ability to accept, acknowledge, and then continuously strive to be that best version of ourselves, that's the journey as well.
And that's where that compass, that connection to your through your intuition, to your soul, to the compass, and the return back is that love, is
Yeah.
that healing grace. I it's a great path, guys. It's a beautiful path. Um,
Good.
the biggest when people come in and with the whole thing around manifesting. So I have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
and I ask you these questions in this order on purpose, trusting yourself, loving yourself, healing yourself, and then start to manifest something. I feel like that's the order. It's not the other way around.
No, 1,000%, because we have to get in touch with ourselves. We have to get in touch with the soul. And then sometimes initially we think we want things, but we
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
actually listen, right? It wasn't
Right.
necessarily in alignment or for our highest and best, right?
Right.
And it is, so taking the time to actually know the self, to pause and that's
Mhm.
huge. So, but with
Right.
manifesting, intuition is such an incredible guide
Mhm.
because when we start to listen, and I really do believe in that concept of us co-creating with the universe, and it
Yeah.
becomes this beautiful symphony when we are actually in harmony and everything is starting to be in that flow. And that's a beautiful thing too, because I know sometimes life happens around us, of course,
Mhm.
but once we start to see things falling, it's like there's this flow happening. To me, that is a suggestion that you're in harmony, with that soul
Mm.
expression
Yeah.
and with the universe. And again, it's that being supported. But as far as the manifesting piece goes, I love it. I tell the joke that this book was literally manifested
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
because I love vision boards, and so every year I sit with, okay, what is the dream? What is the soul speaking? How does the soul want to express? You know,
Yeah.
asking not just where I want to grow, but what is the potential and the why behind
Mhm,
it, and what is that next step, so to speak,
mhm.
right? And with the vision board, I just put little pictures. I don't do magazines, I do like little clip art kind of thing, but I had put a book and the oracle deck on my vision board. This was a couple years ago. I thought, well, this is crazy. This is never going to happen, both things, and
Right.
it's so wild because
Shit.
the book, yeah, just, I told you, the synchronicity with the inspiration, and then, everything just fell into place. Yeah.
Love that. Let's talk about the Oracle deck in a minute. So, the book has a lot of information about trusting your soul and that finding that inner wisdom. Now, the soul compass cards, how do they work with the book? Explain how to tell people to
Love
start.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, here's the cards. Okay. So, the whole point with the cards, and we've had readings, Nancy, in our life, right? But the best reading, I would say, or the best readings are sometimes the readings that really validate what we already know to be true within ourselves, what we already felt, what we already knew. And sometimes we just needed that validation or that encouragement.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's kind of where this deck stemmed from. That was the
Yeah.
idea behind it, that it's really not ever telling you what to do, but it is a mirror or a reflection of the
Mhm.
potential within the soul, but also of what's possible and what you already know
Oh,
to be true.
interesting.
And so that was it. And then I thought about, doing different readings over the years of different tarot decks and oracle decks and all the stuff that I like. But I tried to take the core pieces of different decks that really spoke to me. And then as a reader, reading for thousands of people like you have, right, over the years, what are the things that kind of stand out the most that would be helpful?
Mhm.
And so, if you know me, which Nancy does, I do like angels. So I had to get angel inspiration in here. So the deck is broken into different categories, but angels is one of them. And then the next category is basically the soul's journey. Okay. So
Mhm.
soul growth,
Mhm.
soul progression. And that's loosely based on the major arcana of the tarot. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So I tried to do creative interpretations, but the core concepts that we
Mhm.
think of with new
Yeah.
beginnings, rebirth, transformation, endings, that kind of thing. But to do it, in my own interpretation or a slightly different way.
Mhm.
And then I also think, people want yes, no, timing, so I added a section with
Yeah.
yes, no, maybe. So there's pause, So, and there's like crosswinds and where it's changing directions and things like this. And then the last category was also supposed to be more kind of like inspirational around working with spirit. So your
Mhm.
your guides and getting
Mhm.
reassurance and validation of loved
Mhm.
ones, and also a little bit around again soul expression there with creativity. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's how I did it, and that's kind of the secret purpose behind it, and that way you could also
Mm.
pull the different categories. I just want to work with the angels for this, or I just want to do yes nos, or I just want to do
Okay.
this. So you could break it, but I just use it all together. But you could do it
Yeah.
that way too. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
trying to give it with multiple ways to that it could speak to you.
I love that. Well, I was as you were talking, I'm sitting here mixing them all up. Going, I shouldn't have done that. But no, I like the
That's it. I do it too. And then,
yeah.
even just sometimes getting different perspective. So like in the morning, I'll say, what does my soul need to know today? Or maybe I have a question and I might just pull one card or three cards, asking for clarity or guidance around a situation or something that might be going on in my life. And then
Yeah.
whatever the card is, and this is funny, so I'll tell you. So this one I just did, and I got "You Hold the Magic," okay? And this is
Oh,
an
I love
angel.
it.
This one is loosely, Janet Nohavec, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yes.
So Janet was a mentor for both Nancy and I, and she had these red, the Wizard of Oz shoes. Really nobody knows. But
Um,
it's supposed to be like the red sparkly shoes, and so there's a little nod there. But it's also the energy of the card of the magician, like you hold the magic, so it's a manifesting type of card to bring your dreams into fruition. You have everything that you need to do that. So some of the hidden inspiration behind these things. But yeah.
I love it. How much fun you must have had. Um, I was just kinda messing around with the cards, and one card fell out, and it was gosh, can I show you? Because I have
Yeah,
the
please,
is,
please.
Archangel Metatron,
Oh, I love it.
and I feel I love that you could tell me the message of it, but it says your soul's journey is sacred and divine timing and spiritual growth. Trust that the growth is happening beneath the surface, guided by divine timing, and I feel like that's exactly what we've been talking about, so I feel like this is for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
exactly it. And I love it. It's got little Metatron's cube in there. Okay. It's like the building plot blocks, basically, on even a cellular and spiritual level. But trust that it is happening. It's kind of like the crocus underneath the surface. The soul
Yeah.
is blooming and blossoming in divine timing. So love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, well, the trust your intuition card has an owl on it with a full
Yes.
moon.
Yep. Had to get the
Yeah.
owl in there. Yep.
Your inner voice holds the truth, and finding your inner voice is worth the journey. Because your
Yeah.
inner voice isn't the inner worrier, it's not the inner anxiety person or the inner judge. It's
Mhm.
something totally different.
Yes,
So, yeah.
100%. And that's
Yeah.
how you know when you are tapping in. I think that's a good point because you were asking a lot of good questions earlier. But when you're finding, that it might be negative and stuff like that, that's
Mhm.
often not really the soul. That's a lot of our own fear or different things coming up.
True.
Because I have found, and I would ask, you too, but it's always from a place of love. It should always be
Mhm.
encouraging. Even when it's a no or it's a pause or this isn't right, it's still from a place of love, you know?
It is, and it's quiet and it's calming.
It's reassuring, how
Reassuring.
1,000%.
Sometimes you get to that no and you're very disappointed. No, this isn't going to happen. The no doesn't come out as punitive or shaming or guilt. It comes out as you're okay, but no, not right now.
Yeah, or this might
Yeah,
not be the right thing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. And then right? How many blessings in disguise, those things that we thought would be for our that we wanted or whatever,
yeah.
but they weren't. They
And that was
weren't.
a ooh, that was a close call. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Um, so I thought it would be fun, and I'm trying to figure out how to ask you to do this, but would you want to do a little spread
Yeah.
and, talk to us while you're doing the spread. I don't know the intention, could we set the intention of,
Yeah, let's set the intention. What do you wanna do? We could do I did this the other day. We could do, like, 2 or 3 cards. People could pick a number, or I could just do what do we need to know in a collective? What do you
yeah,
think? You like
I think what do we need to know in a collective in the event that it's a very chaotic time that we're living in right now.
Oh, yes. I
What do
wasn't aware of any of these
we
things going on.
oh,
I'm I'm currently not watching the news, no.
oh, no, I'm kidding, but no, I mean, there's just, there's a lot of
There's a
nobody agrees with anybody else, and things are polarizing all over the place, and, um and that's just at the gas station. So,
That's funny,
there's
actually, Nancy. At the convenience store.
yeah, the
Yeah.
convenience store. So, but I would love to hear what
Yeah,
the
let's
guidance
do
would
it.
be for the
This is
collective.
so
Yeah.
cool. Let's take a peek. Okay, so what do we need to know? Kind of big picture. What is the soul? But I'll say even one of our angels in the spirit world, what do they want us to kind of be thinking about right now as we move through sometimes challenging times? What is being given? I like to do all the three cards at once. So I'm going to pull three and see what we get.
Okay.
And for me, I like to when I do my shuffling, I just kind of let the card fall out or it pulls away. Some people like to kind of fan that deck and pick one, but this is how I do it. I don't know how you do it, Nancy.
All different ways.
This is so nice. Okay. I love it. Okay. All right. So the first card I got was Archangel Gabriel. Okay. And Gabriel is all about communication. So it's communication and inspiration. Express your truth clearly and lovingly. Archangel Gabriel opens the channels for divine messages and creative flow. But I love that because when we think about kind of what's going on with, I'll say our fellow man and woman, but when we look at our brothers and our sisters surrounding us, I think some of it is with communication, being open to different perspectives, to different opinions, different ideas, and then also maybe even setting that intention to when we communicate, be loving and expressing our truth, but to do it with compassion and kindness. That could be something we're all working on, and then recognizing too that sometimes when things are happening around us, or we're getting messages that we don't like, or that make us uncomfortable, you could even sit with, what is this trying to tell me? What do I need to know? What am I learning from this experience? Multiple ways to kind of look at it. The next card I picked was Imperfect Balance, and this is an angel holding the scales of justice.
Mhm.
So interesting, isn't it? I know. And so it says, you
Sure.
are aligned with what is just and true. Trust that your spiritual and material needs are being supported.
Mhm.
But so in some ways, when we look at this from a collective, it could be the need for balance, or things are shifting or being realigned. So sometimes we have to go through change. Sometimes things have to fall away in order
Mhm.
to come back to balance or a place of greater peace and harmony. And so we could also be asking ourselves, how can I cultivate balance in my life, or be a reflection of that in the way that I interact with others and live my life, right? Okay. And then I love this one. It was Sacred Union. So I felt like it was just acknowledging, so it's, like basically the lover's card, partnership, a sacred union. And it says, this connection is a blessing. Open your heart to love that is mutual, meaningful, and true. But
Oh, yeah.
nice though, because I feel like it's also a recognition to look at the blessings in our life, look at those relationships in our
Mhm.
life that really
Mhm.
matter to us,
Mhm.
whether that's friends, partnership, family, and then on a bigger picture, recognizing that tapestry that we
Mhm.
truly are all connected. And you can see they're holding hands. And so it is still nurturing and caring for one another.
Mhm.
What are the ways that we're being inspired to give back,
Mhm.
to help others? The brother sisterhood of man type of thing, but how are we being called to express that, and to, even if it's following the intuition, is something as simple as call your friend. I'm thinking, I'm supposed to call
Oh,
this
yeah.
person. I need to check on them,
Mhm.
make sure they're doing okay. That those little simple things have power, and yet they are part of what's important with that expression of love. And then the last one I love was, your guardian angel is near. So even when we feel lost, even when we don't understand why things are happening
Mhm.
in this world around us, or why they're happening in the way that they are happening, the message on the card says, you are deeply loved. Even when the path feels quiet, your guardian angel in heaven quietly conspire on your behalf. But to me, this is such a powerful thing, as sometimes we feel lost. We don't always
Mhm.
know where we're going. We don't understand why things are unfolding or
Mhm.
happening the way that they are. And this is just a beautiful reassurance to trust. that God, infinite, our angels, our loved ones, our guides are still with us, watching over us. And even in those moments of quiet, to trust that beautiful things can still be happening underneath the surface, around us, within us, that type of thing. And to hold that as comfort as you move forward. So
Well, it's
nice.
beautiful. Just wanted to remind the listeners that the Soul Compass Wisdom Oracle by Lori Dupre Sheridan is also on her website at
Right.
Lori Sheridan Medium. Did I get that right?
Yep.
.com. And
Yeah, thank
um,
you.
I, I I pulled while you were doing this, I pulled out 3 cards too, so I'll
Okay.
throw my little just 3. I
Yeah,
just put it
please.
is
Yeah.
and, so the same intention, what does the collective need to know right
I
now?
love that.
And, it's the first card was where you are right now is your guardian angels holding you. I got the guardian angel card
Isn't
as
that so
well.
cool? I
I
love it.
love that. Yeah. Just to I love that the heaven is quietly conspiring on your behalf. All these conspiracy theories, but your
Yeah.
guardian angel has the biggest one.
Things are moving even when
Yeah.
you no, that's
You're
it.
okay, you're okay. And then, the crux of it, what it is really important for you to do, I think the 3rd card was what emerges is the soul surrender. Let yourself release with peace when you stop forcing the way. Spirit can carry you. So in all of the decisions that you feel you have to make or you have to make or you where you need to go, let your soul carry you because your guardian angel's conspiring to help you have the best result possible. But when you force it, and this is really talking to me. When you force it, it's on your terms. And when you flow into it, it's on the terms of spirit, your soul, and yourself. So it's a
I love
beautiful
it.
triad. And then the following where you're going to end up is how is this is your guides are with you. And you are never walking this path alone. Your spirit guides are nearby, ready to help when you ask. Makes me want to cry. They're right there. You just got to ask.
Just gotta
And
ask. That's the
yeah,
secret, isn't
yeah,
it?
just gotta ask. And, lots of times we get in our own way from asking, but, this is all about what we need to know. We're not alone, and it's gonna be okay. We gotta relax.
That's it. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So that's big
So thank you.
picture.
So and that was from never reading it with this deck before, so I just wanna tell you guys, this is a really easy deck to use. It's a
You
beautiful colors.
very beginner friendly.
But you take it as far as you wanna take it, but
Exactly.
and I
Very
tell you,
easy
yeah,
simple.
I love using oracle cards, tarot cards to what do I need to know today? What do I need to know
Yeah.
in this quarter? What do I need? I 'cause I do a everyone loves to get this reading your year in the Akashic records, and they
Yeah.
usually get it at the beginning of the year. But sometimes somebody will just come into me in the middle of the year and go, "What's going on?" And I might add this deck to it, but sometimes we need to have some kind of clarity. But then after the clarity, we need to know, do you know how to take that step? What are the steps you're going to take now? What did you hear? And who are you going to ask for help to do this?
Right. Right.
And and I feel like this whole little packet
Mhm.
is not just clarity, but support. And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's it. The soul, I mean, for me, the cards are just a tool that really sometimes is even opening your mind to a different perspective, like
Hmm.
you were talking earlier, because it's like sometimes we're so set on things being a certain way, or we just
Hmm.
can't see it, or
Yeah,
and sometimes I do find that the oracle that can be a tool to help you to see things from a different
yeah,
perspective or to
yeah.
bring in a different idea. Because sometimes it feels like we're so close to something that,
Absolutely.
this can help as well. So again, that pause and that reflection, but it's just a tool. And I'm glad you like the deck, Nancy. Thanks so much for sharing it today.
You're so welcome. And I think that that's bringing us to the end of our time together. Although we could go another hour, but I
I
don't think
know.
anyone will
This was
listen that long.
fun.
But this
Thank
is fun.
you.
So appreciative of not just you coming on this show in podcast, but also of you doing this work.
Oh,
Pulling this all together after all your years of, experience, having the business, spiritual business, raising a couple of boys, and
yes.
having the courage to step away from the job and I'm not telling everybody step away from your jobs.
No,
This
no,
this
no,
is not
no.
the advice here, but it is the the effort that you've taken to bring these messages out. It's just touching. It's very special.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nancy. You have no idea how much that means to me,
Oh,
and really
yes.
just getting to share this today with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I really, and speaking now to everyone as we close up, is remember, guys, to take care of yourself, to be very gentle with yourself on your spiritual journey, to stay safe. Don't get yourself into something you can't get yourself out of, but use tools. And this is what we talked about today was a tool that you could use to help yourself and reach out to people. Every person on this show that I brought you are available for you to call if you feel resonating with them. We're in a special time of we're always in a special always since the beginning of time we are in a time of change where we're getting ready to meet God. And this is no different than anywhere else. It just feels like the ante's up, but that's because God is getting closer and closer. Spirit source is getting closer and closer. And the call is for us to have this spiritual journey. So go in love, go in peace, stay safe, and remember you're not alone. There's guides, there's guardian angels, and there's people that
That's right.
care.
Don't be afraid to ask for
So,
help. Beautiful.
exactly.
Thank you,
So
Nancy.
thank you, and this is signing off. That's all for now, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.